Welcome to Trauma Rockstars. I'm your tour guide. Before we dive into today's episode, have you taken the free Trauma Rockstars life audit yet? It takes less than 5 minutes, you guys, and it'll show you exactly where you're at in your healing journey. Go to traumarockstars.com or click on the link below in the show notes and take it now. All right, let's rock. Everybody, this is Holly. She has had an incredible story. She had a 70-day near death experience that has completely changed her life. And she's learned how this can teach about your leadership skills, your legacy, your life in general, how you want to be remembered, your spirituality. And she also has her own framework that helps you get through this. So I want to introduce the world and all you trauma rock stars out there to Holly Porter. Holly, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me, Tracy. Happy to be here.
Your story, I mean, when we first chatted and you told me your story, I'm just going to let you tell the world about what happened. It's unfortunately you hear these stories that happened over the pandemic, but it's so rare that you get to actually talk to somebody that's been through it. So please
Yeah.
share, and then we'll get into all the good stuff because you're an author. You have a lot of books. You've got a lot going on. You've got your retreat. So we'll get into all that.
Sure.
Tell everybody what happened. I mean, I know, but the world doesn't know
Sure.
that my listeners.
Yeah. Well, so leading up to that, I was always an entrepreneur. Both my parents were as well, and I always had 3 or 4 companies at a time. I even graduated from high school early just thinking I wanted 3 jobs and a family, and I just did them all at once. So
Yeah.
not much has changed. Now my family's raised. We have 8 adult children and 19 grandkids, so we're always busy with family. But yeah, I did definitely took a shift during COVID. We all have a story. We all probably lost somebody, which is sad, been
Yeah.
and I feel very blessed, and I do have a lot of gratitude that I was spared, I was saved, and I know that I'm here for a reason, and I feel like purpose is what came out of all of it for me, and I don't want to waste a day. I don't want to waste a breath. I just want to keep moving forward. And I know we're always going to get challenges that come up and things that we're going to have to make big decisions on, and what I call forks in the road that we have to make choices on. We all get 'em. And it's
Uh,
really in the end how we make those choices and how we come out the other end from them, and setbacks are just part of it. So,
yeah, it's life, unfortunately, but it's how you handle those that helps you. It really dictates your, like you said, your legacy and how. So I have so many questions, but go ahead and even like you said, leading up to when you got sick.
yeah. So I went to a conference, which I went to every year. Mine was in the fall of 21. So
Mhm.
the very end of August is when I got sick. And I got sick the night before I came home, and I just had a headache and didn't feel well. I always think how many people I must have infected on that airplane. I feel so bad because I got the Delta version, which is far worse variant of any of them. And I just slept all the way home. I remember I took a nap when I got home. I remember I slept for like 3 hours when I got home that afternoon, evening, woke up, and I remember telling my husband, that's the best sleep I've ever had. Like I was just like so tired. And that was kind of the beginning. Couple days later, my sister encouraged me to test. I even got up like 2 days later in the morning, got showered, and when when you're sick, when you had the flu, I'm putting my makeup on, it's melting off my face as fast as I'm getting it on, but I had a meeting really early in the morning, like, I think the meeting was at 6 AM, so I had to get up really early, drive to my office. I was presenting this pitch in front of 9 people. I didn't wanna cancel because 'cause we'd already changed the appointment a couple times. I was determined, sicker than a dog, so I did it. I just said, "Full disclosure, I'm not feeling my best." And later that day, I did test and had COVID. Never thought I would get COVID. Didn't think I was above it, but I was really healthy. I walked in the hospital on no
Yeah.
drugs, walked out on 12. So, like,
Yeah.
life
COVID doesn't care.
what's that?
COVID doesn't care. It doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, no mercy to anybody. So,
Yeah.
I I actually was home for a week before I went. Because I am holistic and because we had that fear put in us about the hospital. You go to the hospital, you die. You get on a ventilator, you die.
Yeah.
These beliefs that were kind of true. And so I just woke up a week later, intuitively brought it home to my husband. He was about 2 days behind me, but never was hospitalized. But he did have it bad and had oxygen and stuff, blood clots, things like that. But I woke him up and I just said, We have to go to the hospital now." Like, I was in trouble. I mean, I was not doing well. And we didn't even consider, like, calling an ambulance. Like, we were so concerned about giving it to anyone else. I don't know how he got us there. It was only about maybe 15-20 minute drive, but, like, how he got us there was a miracle. He said, "I dropped you off." I mean, it's all a blur to me. I was so I was half dead. And he
Yeah.
drops me off at the front of the hospital, and he says, "I went and parked," and he says, "By the time I got back in," and we all know how long the ER takes, right? He said, "They already had you on the way to the ICU. That's how bad you were." Like, they were just like, "Oh, that's it, go." So, my oxygen was 63 when I got there, out of 100, and, yeah, all my organs were shutting down, like, it was I was so
Were they all, like, suited up at that point in 2021 when you went in? Because by
well.
then it was full, it was really into it.
Yeah, I mean, they were all masked, but, like, obviously the ICU, some of
Yeah.
the times I got other things, I got, like, infections and stuff where they were suited, like, almost like hazmat to protect me, I guess, because I had things wrong that just were worse than COVID going on. So, I got it all. I got every drug, everything you could get, sepsis. Well, that began my first day of 70. So, I was in 2 hospitals, 70 days, intubated twice, trachea, sepsis, other infections. But I had some really cool experiences. I had a bunch of out of body experiences. Now, I didn't know till 2 years after these experiences, I didn't even know there was a difference between out of body experiences, spiritual transformative experience, and near death experiences. I had no idea. I had all.
Okay. So you're gonna have to explain it to us because
Yeah.
I have no clue either.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I really had no clue. Now I can tell you though, knowing the difference, I can tell you exactly what was what. I can tell you when it was just a bad dream or hallucination or or a nightmare. Like
Mm.
every one of them had a different I don't know what I would call it, theme or whatever. I could tell you, "Oh, yeah, well, that was just a dream because I had some weird dreams too. But out of body is more like astral projection, and I'm no scientist. Yeah, I'm just gonna speak what I feel, what I think it is,
Yeah.
right? But it's when you, like, have an out of body experience, like you were literally out of your body. With me, ironically and kind of comically, I took my bed with me everywhere. I think, like, my brain for being a brain disease, being COVID, my brain was kind of coherent enough that I knew if that body in the bed didn't come with me on my journey, I might not get it back. And I think there was that fear, like, well, if I leave, I'm not gonna get it back. I'll just bring it along. So me and my bed traveled all over. The out of body experiences were mostly back in time. I did current time several times, never in the future, never forward in time. So it was either and when I traced it back, where I would go was this little town called Perwin, Utah, which is ironically only like 15 minutes away from me. My great grandfather has a home there, Jesse and Smith House, that now the city owns, and it's a museum that they do tours in. I knew I had been there with my kids when they were little. We did a cousins camp, and I remember touring it. I knew it was some kind of a relative, but until I did the research later, I just didn't put all the pieces together.
What part of Utah, Holly?
Parowan, Utah. So it's
Okay.
southern Utah.
Yeah.
This is a
I
little
grew up in Vegas, so I
oh,
used
yeah,
to
little
go
town
to
right outside of Cedar City.
right outside. Yeah.
So I'm there having all these crazy experiences.
Mm.
Sometimes I traced it back about 165 years.
So were these past lives?
No,
They
no.
weren't past lives of yours.
It's
Okay.
interesting, people have asked that a lot because and I have not, that I'm not a researcher like me, I don't overthink stuff. I'm just
Yeah.
like, whatever the truth is the truth. I'm just not gonna
Mhm.
worry about it. But I was raised very religious, and so I never believed in past lives. Like, I never was taught anything about them until probably 15 years ago.
Mhm.
I hadn't really heard about them. So it was
Right.
interesting. Yeah, it is interesting thinking, "Oh, was I here before?" Because 165 years ago was, like, pioneer times of Utah. Anyway, it's just been yeah, that whole thing was kind of ironic. And then the spiritual experiences are just that you're having I think a lot of people still classify those as a near death, maybe, but it was a very, very spiritual. That one for me, I'll just tell that story because it's a pretty quick one. So I can tell you like I've timelined when each thing happened. Like the out of body were all over the place. Like they were all the time. The spiritual one was the last one I had when I knew I was going to live. And so that all of them happened like the first 3.5 weeks. The day I got the trachea was about 3.5 weeks in. And that was the first day my husband was let in to even see me because he had COVID. They wouldn't let him in. So I had to have one person every 24 hours, which also saved my life. So I had most of the time my two twin sisters, they would rotate every 24 hours. They would stay, and be there with me. I had a daughter that come and stayed a few times, and my bonus mom came a couple times, for a few hours because it got to be where how long is this going to be? You think in just a few days and then you're out, but it wasn't it. I mean, at one point they asked me how long, like what month do I think it was, and 30 days had gone by. I had no idea. Like, that's a long time. So,
Yeah.
anyway, they saved my life just by being there, whether it was to hold the medical staff accountable a little bit more because they were definitely understaffed and overworked and,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
everybody was struggling their own ways.
Mm.
But anyway, the spiritual one, so that was really a powerful one for me. In fact, I had a painting commissioned with it. So how it went was I have a cousin, kind of a sister cousin, lived in Arizona, and she had sent a text, wasn't doing well, and she sent it to my sisters. I don't remember which one was there that day, but said, "Please read this to Holly. I know she's not doing well, and I want to I wouldn't share this kind of experience normally with, in a text because it was spiritual for her, but I feel like she needs to hear it." So they read it. The gist of it was she was praying for my husband and I and our well-being, and she was surrounded by all these spirits that had our family, and asked who they were and said name by name who they were, and that, basically letting me know all this support that we had for me and my husband.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking, "Oh, that's so sweet, whatever." And then they must have put me back in a coma. I was in a coma off and on about 30 days of the 70. And I was happy to be there, by the way, because it was not fun not being out or not
Yeah.
being awake was not fun. So I've laid there and they put me back in under, and I remember being really angry. Like I was so mad. I mean, I am a redhead, but I was just like, my prayers were starting to change. They were more like, okay, it's been a long time. I'm miserable. And I'm telling God, if you're not going to get me better, then get me out of here. Like I surrender. I'm done. I'm okay. I never was afraid to die. I definitely am not now, but I was just done. And so the way I think of it as is when we get that little snotty self of ourselves in us, who usually comes and puts us in check is our mama. And my mom had passed away about a year and a half before. And she came to me several times while I was in the hospital, but she hadn't
Okay.
spoke to me until this spiritual transformative experience. And so I'm there, being mad because why did she get that experience? I'm the one laying here suffering. Why don't I get that? I was like kind
Mhm.
of being a brat. So my mom came and said, "Look, it's not your time to be here and you need to fight." And when she said the word fight, above, again in my bed, above my bed come all first just before that, my brother had died a few years prior in a really bad car wreck, left four
Mhm.
children, his wife a year and a half before that in a horrific, really bad car wreck. So left four children, orphans, and they're all adults now, but just they had passed away. I had a grandbaby that had passed away like 5 months before I was in the hospital.
Oh,
She was only a couple days old, but she was an adult. I saw her as an adult, and that was really special. I knew it was her. Like it was
yeah.
cool to know that. He just came to my mom and kind of put his hand on her shoulder and kind of like, "You're not supposed to be here." And I'm supporting mom, like in this one,
Mhm.
you know? And then all these ancestors in white came above my bed, and all of them, like, they just surrounded above me, and they started chanting, "Fight, fight, fight." And as they did that, every time they'd chant "fight," a whole new group would come behind them. So now they're in street clothes, so I know they're living, and I'm seeing my husband and my siblings and my kids and friends, and they just kept coming and coming, like thousands of people. And
Oh.
it was like such a defining moment to know, okay, like, got it. I have to fight. Like, that's not that I wasn't, but it was like so defining that you have all this support. You have all these people you
Mhm.
don't even know, which, by the way, I think were all the prayer lists I was on. I was seeing all the people had put on church and prayers and, friend lists and whatever all over the world.
Oh.
because we were still pretty shut down with COVID and everybody was hanging on to social media.
So
Think
you're saying you feel like you actually got to see your prayer group in front of
thousands.
you come in like almost like an army of people. That's
It was
incredible.
like, "We got you." It was just like such a I was just like, "Got it. Okay." It wasn't an easy journey back, and I knew it wouldn't be, but,
Yeah.
like, I knew I was gonna live. It was, like, so defining for me, and so the painting is actually only I could have 26 people. It was so hard. It took me 8 months to get it all ready, to get it painted 'cause and it's huge. It's, like, 6 foot by 4 foot, and it's in one of my
Yeah, I
it's
could
huge. I
imagine.
mean, the heads are full-size heads. Anyway, it's big. It probably means nothing to anybody but me, but the painting's called Fight. So that was that experience, but yeah.
And you knew all these people, right?
No, only
Oh, a
only
lot of them you did were
friends.
just random people that were praying for
That's
you that
that's
you
why I think that they were the prayer list I was on because people all over the world were praying for me. I was getting
right.
messages. I mean, the stuff even like this last year, so it's been for over 4 years. I've sent out random emails that didn't get deleted. I've just seen like all messenger stuff, like that just randomly pops up of stuff that I never had seen before. It was like this
Oh,
when my sisters would put an update, social media, anywhere from 2 to 400 comments per post. Like, and they weren't
wow.
just like, "Prayer hands, get better." They were
Yeah.
because you know why? Everybody was suffering. So their hearts
Everybody and every yeah, and that's as horrific as it was for the world to have to go through that, that really brought us together. Like, we were all praying for each other, for complete strangers that you don't even know, and,
yeah,
and it really it did, and it's
yeah,
different now, but we did have that moment that we got to experience that in our lifetime, so there was and the fact that you got to see all of them
that
is
was amazing.
it
So amazing. It just wow, you know? Very so I have a very unique story to that because what I saw in the near death was like a to be continued 2 years later when I did a hypnosis session on it. So that was like
okay,
so powerful because it was like I got the rest of the story and I got told more will be revealed to you when the time
hold
is
on.
right. Yeah. So the near death experience was very interesting. So I am going in my bed again and I'm leaving my room, which my sister said I never left that room. I had surgeries in there and everything for the whole time I was there. And I'm like, yes, I did. I went everywhere, you know. So I'm leaving my room. I'm going down the hallway in my bed. And first thing I notice is other beds are going down the hallways. And I think those were people dying because half the people were dying when I was in the hospital that were there.
Yeah,
I think they were other people that were leaving as well. And I remember leaning up and shaking my finger at the reception area, the nurse station, whatever, saying, I rescind my DNR. I rescind my DNR. So do not resuscitate. So I must have, again, consciously knew I'm headed somewhere I don't want to go, you know? So I'm telling them that. And then they roll me down to where I end up being like, the only way I can explain it, I call it the Stadium of Light, but like a huge, way bigger than a football stadium, like the biggest stadium you've ever seen. And all the beds got pushed into like the sky boxes because we were in beds. And then there was like this pause of time and all of a sudden I end up in the Stadium of Light. I'm out of my bed and there's like hundreds now, not just the thousands that I saw before. It was hundreds and thousands of people. I could see feet. So I knew nobody, I knew they were floating. I knew they weren't like sitting in a stadium or anything. But the light was so bright that it was like almost a miracle that I could see through it. It was interesting because it was like fog, but it was so clear. I mean, so back in my hospital bed, I'd lost all 5 senses from COVID, taste and smell. The ventilator took 90% of my hearing away. Everybody sounded like the Charlie Brown school teacher, you know, wah, wah, wah.
yeah,
My
yeah,
sight, I already am legally blind, so without my contacts or glasses, I couldn't see who anyone was unless they were about 8 inches in front of my face, and they tie your hands to the bed when you're on the ventilator so you won't pull it
yeah,
out. So, like, all senses were gone, so it was like, I get here and my senses are on fire. I mean, they are spidey senses. I could just I mean, you would look at someone and it was like the gift of knowing, now it's the gift of all knowing. You would know before you even finished the thought, you have the answer, and it was just telepathy so fast, and so not even a negative thought could enter anywhere, like because it was so full of light, you know. And then I saw my life review, and my life review only showed me good. I was like just enjoying that. It was like watching it like a play. Later, I asked why when I had my hypnosis session, but at that time, you don't think to ask anything like that. You're just you
Well,
are so
yeah,
in.
because you're rolling with it and yeah, you're not conscious. So
No,
it's not like,
well, who
"Wait,
cares about the bad?
let me take some notes. Hold on a second."
You like that process doesn't even enter the
Yeah,
process.
of course.
So then I was told 2 things then. I was told to that company that I pitched to that I was sharing earlier about. So they had a billionaire backer and I was gonna partner this new company with them, and I was told not to. I was told that's not the highest and best thing for the company, that it needed to stay mine and don't do it. I was also told to go and start a nonprofit called Adventure Bucket Wish, but no mission. So I come back. I didn't get a choice. I just got sent back. I would have stayed, I am pretty sure. And I tell people all the time for loved ones that didn't come back, I can tell you that I don't know why they would have. You're in a much better
Yeah.
place there. And but I got sent back. So when I wake up, my sister is in the room with me, and I have to communicate. I can't talk. So I have to communicate through an alphabet, and I was very weak. Like, I don't even know how I ever did that. They said it took forever to even get a word out. She said, "I could tell that you were really, like, unsettled." And so she
Yeah.
gets it out, and I start spelling KID. She's all wanting to help me. Do you need me to tell your kids something? And I must have shook my head or something, and she's like, "Okay," you kept going, NAP, and she's like, "When you spelled kidnap," I wanted to grab the garbage can and throw up in it because I was like they were so protective over me, but I was doing better, so she ran an errand. She's like, "What happened while I was gone?" And she goes, "As soon as you got that communicated to me, the nurse and the doctor walked in to extubate me because I was doing better." That was the first extubation, and they took it out. She says, "Then you could talk, not very well, but you could talk." And she's like, "You had a lot to say." And there
I'm sure.
there were spirits still in the room. I think
Mhm.
3, which ironically, someone told me the other day, they think that was my brother and sister that passed away and my mom. I thought, you're probably right, 'cause I don't know who it was, but I wasn't afraid of 'em. But I kept thinking, why am I feeling kidnapped? Like, why I could tell quickly no one saw him but me, because my sister was opening the doors, the drawers,
Yeah.
the closet, showing me nobody's in there. So, fast forward a couple years to the rest of that part of the story. I have 2 years of complete and utter hell. I call it my 2 years of hell. Like, every bad day that you've ever had, times it by 100, and that's how heavy it was every day. I prayed every day I
Mhm.
would've died. Everything was going wrong. Relationships were jeopardized, kids stuff were awful. We were dealing with a lot of heavy stuff, and I was just coming out of that after the 2 years when I went to the IANDS, which is International Association for Near-Death Studies, France. And I went there, and that's how I found out about these other experiences that I had, that there was a name for them. And I started learning a lot, and I was getting better finally. I was kinda pulling out of that. So I asked my friend who had certified me for hypnosis. It's been 10 years now, but back then this is 4 years ago, or sorry, 2.5 years ago. I asked him if he
Mhm.
would do a hypnosis session on the near-death experience, and he said, "Yeah, okay, let's do it." So we did that, and it was just, like, uncovering so much. I think I was ready to hear more. I don't think I could have handled emotionally, physically, mentally what I got. I still am getting, like, parts of the story. People say it takes 10 years to unravel everything that you go through. I did start the nonprofit right away before the 2 years and started. I had incorporated my company, Retreat R&R, Adventure Bucket Wish Foundation nonprofit, and was working on all that while I was going through this 2 years of ick. God had his hands in so many things for me. That's who my higher power is. Whoever it is for anyone else, I respect. But, like, to know you just get these drippings, and it's just so amazing to keep getting it, I feel so blessed that the rest of the story is coming. It's not that I wasn't smart enough to handle it all. It's that there was a lot there to unpack, and I got to take it a little at a time. And that's not my behavior. My behavior is I want to know everything now. I want to do everything now. I want everything now.
Yeah.
And that's not, I'm so at peace. Like, until last year, I could have never said I even knew what peace was. I had never felt true peace in my life. That's a long time. I'm in my 50s. And it was like, I
Yeah,
never felt like I had a true purpose.
yeah.
So,
Why until last year?
well, I think because I was unpacking everything I was going through, went through the 2 years of hell. Before that, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
I think I was in survival mode. I mean, I look back at when I was raising, 7 teenagers at one time in the house, and I just think I was Rotary International president, and I was over 1,400 soccer kids. I was working real estate pretty much full time. I owned a salon and spa. My husband owned a concrete company. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on. Like, talk about survival. I was never present. I was
Right.
just in this space where get it done, get it done, get it done, and chaos and crisis and, you know, saving for rainy days, it's pouring every day, it just that's just the
Mhm.
chaos we lived in, and I didn't know any different. So I how do you feel peace in that? So I think
When did
until things
you
calm down.
when did you have that hypnosis session?
About 2.5 years ago.
Okay, which probably helped.
So let me share a couple of things that came out of that. Game changer. Like, I hate to compare it to a near-death experience, but it almost was.
Well, because since you and I talked last, I had a hypnosis session, my first.
Oh, how'd that go?
It's similar to what, yeah, I think you're about ready to describe. I'll tell you about it, but this is about you, so I wanna hear your
Yeah,
story.
I can't wait to hear yours. So, okay, so we do the hypnosis. So where it ends up, I didn't get to the Stadium of Light until the end of the whole process, which by then it had been like an hour and 40 minutes. So he pulled me out. So I didn't get to experience the best part of the Stadium of Light again, much anyway. So
Mhm.
he takes me and I end up in this in between. So it's not dark and it's not light. And the dark's on the right side and the light's on the left side. And all this, like, remember all the fog I said I saw, but it was so bright you could see through it? Well, now
Yes.
it's like cloudy, like dirty colors. It's like colors I can't explain, but silver and cobalt and black and gray, and they're all swarming around, and they would form like the energy of it would form into get together and would form a heart, and the heart would float to the left. And I remember thinking, gosh, even in the dark, even the dark is attracted to the light, and the heart's
Yes.
representative of love. Well, we ended up realizing there's an entity in there. We're actually going to do another session. We've been talking about it. We've got a different plan now. Because now we've seen what we need to do, and now that we're ready for more. But we talked to an entity, and his name was Darby, and Darby took me. So when I was in the Stadium of Light, this is what I picture now happened, and I was very vulnerable before when I was in like the skybox part and I was dying, took me. So it's like he was waiting for me to be vulnerable enough. I remember now he was in a couple of my out of body experiences. I didn't remember that till last year when I was writing the book, which I didn't put that in there because it just happened, and I was like, I'm gonna leave that part out right now. But
Right.
just some
Well, you could always write another book.
yeah, it was just some creepy stuff. So anyway, we talked to him. He couldn't go to the light. He couldn't have it. He wanted it. So he took mine. Well, he couldn't keep mine. So as we're sitting there going through this banter, and my hypnosis friend is saying to him, he's got my back. Like, it felt good. He was like, "You stole it from her. You didn't earn that. That's not yours." And I mean, they're
You
gonna
felt
fight
safe.
about it. And I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden I could feel the light and the heat on my face. And Darby says, the light's coming together and I'm not gonna be able to stop it. So basically, I feel like he took me and I had to have a spiritual intervention to get back. And I think that's what happened. And so
Yeah.
maybe there's more pieces to that. That's fine. Like, so anyway, eventually he lets me go. I go forward, and over to the right hand side, there's this one eye on a mountain way far away. Saw it twice. I felt like it was some kind of a protector. I haven't got the rest of that yet, but I know it was there to protect me. And then I go forward and I see a tree, and the tree brought me so much peace. That was like the first time really I think I felt that peace, true peace.
Mm.
Because when I was creating, one of the things I was told not to do was partner with that company, do it myself. So I was doing the branding, and I said to the marketer guy, I said, my logo needs to have a tree in it. Like, no one questioned why. I didn't question why. I never even gave it hardly any thought. Like, I knew that. He comes back and my logo has 11 leaves and 11 roots. 1, 1, 1, 1, which was also the day I got out of the hospital, which 1's my
11/11.
birthday. There's a bunch of things around that number,
Yeah.
obviously, for a lot of people. So I was like, wow, I never changed one thing on that logo. We left it. That's what it is. So then I see that and I realize that was like a God gift. It was like, you didn't even remember this part of your near death, and you went and did what I asked you to and created that logo. It was like I saw the tree to bless me. It was kind of like you listened, well
Yeah.
done. So then I get over to the light now, and I am seeing the matter turn the really light colors again. And I'm seeing those hearts like pink rose quartz type hearts. And my nonprofit That was the other thing I was told to do when we had a gala fundraiser. I was doing the little gift bags for everybody, and I knew intuitively that each bag needed to have a rose-colored quartz stone in it, heart in it. And then I see them and I'm like, it was kind of the same thing. It was like, here's your gift. You listened, you did what you were asked to, and
Yeah.
it's part of the story, you know? So that was like brought me a lot of peace. So then I'm seeing the life review again. Then I remembered to ask, why am I not seeing the bad? I've done plenty of bad. Why am I not seeing the bad? And I did not hear God. He spoke to me clear as day. He said, I'm showing you the good because that's what matters. And I just thought, of course you are. You know, that is what matters.
Uh, yeah.
And then he gave me a message that if I would have remembered 2 years before that, I believe I wouldn't have went through that 2 years of hell, which now I know were lessons I needed to learn for the philanthropy I'm doing in the future. I had to
Mm,
go through that. And it was the message was and the words were, "Love them where they're at." And I thought, that would have changed my reaction. It would have taken the judgment out of everything I was doing. It just would have changed the energy around it all. Part of me was mad I didn't get that because I went through that 2 years of hell, but now looking back, I'm like, "What a blessing." Like, what a blessing to get it when I did. And that message I know has helped a lot of other people because I read a lot of comments when I've said that on shows. It changes it. It just if we just love people where they are, it changes the energy around it.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, I've had to learn that a lot recently too. You can't look at who you want them to be, who they were, who you think they could be, what they say they think they could be or they want to be. It's exactly where they're at.
yeah. And
I've
just
had to learn that very hard lately, Tough
I'm not saying
lesson.
it's easy. I still work at it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
it's
have a
frustrating.
therapist I just saw on a business cruise. I met him a year ago, and I just got back from the business cruise again and saw him, and we were having a nonprofit meeting. I put a little nonprofit group together there, and he brought it up again. So he's brought it up 4 or 5 times in the last year to me. He just said, I'll never forget that message you told me. Because what the reason I was telling him we stayed up really late one night and was chatting about everything, and I was giving him my story, and he was telling me he literally used the word hate. He said he's a therapist, so he's had to work with people that had really, really bad things happen to them. And he used the word hate. He said, I hate those people,
Mm,
for what they've done to them. And so I kind of told him that story. When I gave him that message, he messaged me back the next morning and he said, you've changed my life. He said, those words have changed my life. You're right. It is not up to me. I'm gonna love them where they're at. And he just took that word right out of his vocabulary. And it felt good to have him say it even in a couple texts throughout the year, and then again in this meeting we were in, he just said, "Yeah, it changed everything about the way I feel about it." And I thought, "Okay," because I mean, there's a big difference in energy from love to hate and hate to love.
huge, but that's just another tool that, like you said, your higher power, God is using you for to spread. To like just that one conversation changed his whole outlook on things.
Yeah,
I'm going through something similar to that right now. I need to remember that myself.
we all do.
It's so I mean, it's so powerful to think that way. When you came out day 70, 71 with your whole it was a nightmare for you.
Yes.
How did you remember everything right away because you were so medicated? I mean,
Yeah.
how long was it before you could really like process? I can't even imagine.
Well, I knew, like, the things I was saying, I remember being shocked that as intuitive as my sisters were with me, that they weren't putting it together that I was having, like, a near-death experience, and
Yeah.
I don't think they really because I was saying stuff that later I was listening to like I in the Stadium of Light, I was talking about, the all this music and
Mhm.
this choir of angels, they sounded like angels. And I mean, all the stuff I'm saying later, I'm listening to myself going, how could anyone not figure that out? But maybe they didn't understand me. Maybe I wasn't talking very much. I don't know. I remember I was talking a lot when
Well, you were still very highly medicated
I was
and
so medicated. Can you believe I mean, I walked out of that hospital, I wasn't addicted on anything, I was on 12 drugs, but it was for all the body things happening, but, I mean, it was a miracle that I never got, like, addicted to anything. Um,
Right.
my body, I'm a redhead, so we metabolize totally different than people. I don't know if you knew that.
No,
So
I actually didn't know
oh,
that.
yeah, if you're a redhead, you make sure you tell your dentist, the Novocaine's different, anesthesiologists need to know.
Really?
A lot of redheads are awake during their surgeries and nobody knows it. Isn't that awful?
Even wait, even with anesthesia?
Yeah, they still my dad had that experience, and I said, "Dad, have you never told him that you're a redhead?" He didn't know that. This was a few years ago.
So is this like a
Gosh.
known thing with doctors? Like,
Yeah.
you if
It's very common now. I think I don't know if everyone knows it,
so
but
do you have to get, like, extra
mhm.
anesthesia?
Takes a lot. It takes extra pain medication. So, like, for instance, my one daughter was with me in the hospital, and she said they were, like, overdosing me and withdrawing me at the same time. They were giving me fentanyl and oxycodone, and she said, "They were giving you fentanyl every hour because she says, "I was sitting there and you were fine, and all of a sudden, your eyes rolled back in your head and your heart rate went to, like, 168." She's like, "I knew you were dying." And she yelled at the nurse that was in there, and she's like, I'll never forget his face, the fear in his eyes, because that's all you could see, because of the mask and everything. She just said he looked so scared, and whatever he did got me back on track, but she said the fentanyl they were giving me every hour, and my body was metabolizing it every 20 minutes, so it's kinda like they were withdrawal overdose, and then yeah, it but I mean, they don't know, just
I know, but
they
I
were
just learned
practicing everything.
something. I just learned something new. So do you think because you being a redhead is why you got it so bad?
I don't know because I was never sick, like, the fact that I got it
Well,
all surprised me.
you got it all in 70 days, and then the
Yeah.
years
Mhm.
following it you got it all.
Well, and then I got the long COVID after that, and I got all the diagnoses started stacking up after,
And
and
you survived sepsis.
yeah, I did, yeah. And I had some other infection that you get when you're I can't even tell you the name of it. We studied it when I did my book because it came down to 2 names, and I sent it to everybody that was involved, said, "Which one sounds like it?" And they all separately said the same, "Yeah, that's one." And I was like, "Okay, I guess we can say honestly that was it." But, yeah, it was something you get when you're on intubation that it was rare, but of course I got it. So
Yeah.
they said that would have taken me out way more than COVID. Like, they were shocked that didn't get me. There was a lot. And I mean,
Wow.
remdesivir had just started that protocol when I got in there.
Mhm.
I didn't get intubated for 4 days. I'm kinda thinking I was refusing because back then we just figured you go on the ventilator, that's it, but
Well
I didn't have a choice.
and I know, and it is scary to think about going on a ventilator, like, with me, because I work in healthcare,
Mm.
and, I know that the ECMO ventilator system, most people that have to be put on that only I think statistically only 50% will survive.
I had a friend
That's
I
the
interviewed.
ECMO. I mean,
That's
y
scary.
it's scary, but
That's
yet
the
you
hard one
need
right
it.
there.
You need it
Yeah, I wasn't on that, but my friend I interviewed was, and she had a baby during all that. She didn't get to see her baby for 3 months. She was in the hospital for 4. So she goes in, has a baby, and is on the ECMO, and she was on the ventilator. She was on everything. Anyway,
so she woke up and realized she had a child. She
oh,
gave
and
birth
she's
and
right, obviously, but yeah, I think she was 8 months when she went in. So the husband literally is home thinking his wife's dying every day.
with the
This brand new
newborn.
baby, first baby. I mean, just but the story was unbelievable, and they're doing great. In fact, I think she's pregnant again. So the little guy's 5. Yeah.
How do you I know you grew up, you were very religious and, and everything growing up with your faith, but how is that different now than before this?
Yeah. Well, I would have said before I was more religious spiritual, and now I think it's flip-flopped. I feel like I'm
Okay.
a lot more spiritual than religious. My beliefs are different in the fact that, like, I feel like for me, I don't have to be at church to know I have a relationship with God. Whereas before it was like showing up was part of it for me. It's just like there's just some shifts in beliefs. It's like it's just different now. There's a lot I'd love to explore. Like I said, I
Yeah.
don't overthink anything. I just
Right.
go with the flow. I know I have these assignments. I mean, I'm grateful in the fact that I got I never felt trauma before. If you're in the
Right.
hospital at any ICU at any time, from my understanding, you have PTSD, you have trauma.
Mhm.
I never had anxiety. That was out the roof. I mean, you can't breathe. what do you do when you can't breathe? You have anxiety.
Of
I mean, it was
course.
it was a scary, terrifying thing. I was really happy when I was induced in a coma because, like I said, I my senses were gone a lot of the times.
Yeah.
It was a scary place. Plus, I was visiting some pretty cool things, I had some cool stuff happen, so
Yeah. Did you get your senses back?
I did. Yeah, in fact, I remember having my sma my s I was gonna combine taste and smell. Taste and smell, yeah, I got those back in the hospital because I remember being super hungry, like, I was on a ventilator, total of 52 days, coma, in and out, like, 30, and, like, 63 on a feeding tube.
Mhm.
So, like, I was eating and still had that feeding tube in for, like, a week.
Mhm.
I think that just whatever. It was awful. That was, like, the best day when I got that thing out, and when I could eat real food. Like, I was so hungry, but something was off with I had hypoglycemia before a little bit, so, like, that something was off because I remember feeling like they were literally starving me. This is, like, at the end of this day, and I was so hungry. I was like, "I don't know what is going on, but I am so hungry." And it was like they couldn't do stuff because of reasons, I don't know, but I just
Mhm.
feel like you're just sitting in the hospital suffering and they're starving you.
Yeah. Let's shift gears, pardon the pun, a little bit
All
and
good.
talk about your shift framework and all that so the listeners can understand because this whole experience has molded this
Uh,
work for you.
yeah, it really has. So I think I had 13 books of my own or anthologies I was part of when I got out of the hospital. And then I've been on part of some other anthologies. And I knew when I came out, I had two more books to do, which I was kind of mad about, I have to say, because was kind of done with that. That ship sailed. I was like, I got enough. I mean, how many times do you have to be an author? Like that wasn't like, oh, this is my lifelong dream. I never felt like I was a writer. So I was like, okay, I got two. All right. One's the story of the near death stuff. And now it's done, thank heavens, check. And then later, much later, I'm hoping, not much later, but at least a few years, the next book's all the philanthropy work that's coming out of it because that's really my mission. And that's
Yeah.
my why. And my why really changed. I've always been more heart-centered, people-centered more than money. But now it's like I see the bigger picture where it's going to take the money to do the philanthropy that I need to do.
Yeah.
That shift is like, okay, well, let's create the money so I can do the philanthropy. Because honestly, I just want to be a check writer. I feel like I live that ick and I know what it is I want to do and I need to do, but it's going to take a lot of money to do it. And I don't want to roll up my sleeves. And I feel like I already did that. I'm just like, nope, there's other people that are pros at that. I just want to say, how much do you need? Let's write you the
Right.
check. Anyway, that's my like end game. And that being said, the book came out. It was such a transition for me while I was doing it. I put kind of my company on hold. It's a software company, Retreat R&R. It hadn't got developed yet. I needed another million to finish it right. So then I started working on phase two, which was buying and selling luxury retreat properties. And then I realized, oh my gosh, my book's supposed to come out November 11th, 1111 of last year. So I literally stopped everything and just got it finished and set my deadline. And then while I was writing it, the book title changed that I had had for 2 years. So it's called Near Death Shift. It was a different title for a couple years, and I struggled with that because I'm not one that's really gets attached to stuff, but I just felt like that was it for so long, and now I feel like it's a retreat program, the other title, and this title came up. Shift wasn't part of the acronym in the beginning, so it just like kind of all evolved as I was writing the book.
Yeah.
I would get edits back. So at one point, I realized pretty early on in this process last year that it needed to be two-part. I didn't have a spiritual book, and I'm really into personal development. So I thought, okay, let's have it spiritual part one, personal development part two. Then people are learning from what I'm teaching, right? So I knew that was supposed to happen, and I would get the second half back, edits from my editor, like I was reading them for the first time. It was so eye-opening. It was like, I read it like I wrote that? Like, it had God's hand in it so much. So while I'm in this space writing the book, the SHIFT acronym real quick is surrender, hope, intuition, faith, and transformation. Ironically, I'm hearing SHIFT everywhere now. It's kinda like you buy a car and then everybody has it. Kinda that thing. It's like you use the word shift, now everybody's using it.
Well,
They
because it's
really are.
part of your universe now.
And I'm hearing it everywhere, like, people
Yeah.
are teaching it, and it's fine, that's fine, that shows you it's time, for all of this. So, I knew that I was working on that, and all of a sudden, I'm it's in a really spiritual place with this book, and I get a download about International Retreat Association, and I'm like, "What?" You know, for shiny object, and I was really, really doing good at keeping all shiny objects out of my way right then, which never happened.
Surprise.
I knew I could do it now. So I was like, "What?" So I went down the rabbit hole enough to know it was retreat related because my other company was a retreat company. We did all kinds of things for retreats. Well, I was like, "Okay, association." I'm part of the National Association of Realtors, Utah, builders, coaching, so I've been part of associations. I know how important they are. So I'm like, went down the rabbit hole just enough to realize with 2 to 3 million estimated retreat leaders in a $363 billion industry, there is not an association for them to belong to for that ecosystem at all, which is everybody in the retreat industry.
Mhm.
Venues, provider service, retreat leaders, everyone. I was like, huh, okay, I'm listening, I was like,
Yeah.
then I was like, "All right, stop, stop, stop. Get your book done. You're gonna miss your deadline." So then I just said, "Okay, God, I will do what you want me to do, but don't let me miss my deadline. Let me just get this behind me." So I got the book done, and then in December, I turned around and incorporated International Retreat Association, and we're launching the end of April now of 2026, the essential membership and the founding memberships, and working with my leadership council to get right people on it. And like, to build something that big, like, I feel so blessed to know that God gave that idea to so many people, I guarantee you. Why
Yeah.
did no one do it? I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm doing it. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, the people it's gonna bless, an industry that is so big, that is international, that is gonna change so many lives. And if COVID did anything for us, it taught us we want community. We want to
We
build.
need it. We need it. Yeah.
And so I'm just like so excited where it's going to go. I'm here to support that ecosystem. I'm not here to compete with it. Even though Retreat R&R, my company, has some competitive things with, other people, doesn't matter right now. I just put all that on hold. I just literally went all into the association, and I just can't believe the great feedback. Like, people are so excited for it, and I'm here for it. I'm just like, what can we do to make this better? And in the end, it'll create all my philanthropy work, and it also goes really well with the nonprofit. They can integrate together.
Yes.
There's just so many things that are to know that you're doing something that's so much bigger than you've ever done, and to have no imposter syndrome behind it. Like, I've always
Mhm.
had that. Anything I've done, I've always questioned, "Well,
We all do. Yeah.
but I don't. In this, it's not because I don't care. I care more, I think. But
Yeah.
to know that it's like a God-given gift of an idea and so needed and so world changing, I've never felt something so more right.
That's incredible. I mean, we talked about it. I definitely want to be a part of it myself because it's an amazing platform. So, is it for people that are looking for retreats, starting retreats, creating a space for that? Like, who would be a good fit for that membership?
So when we say the retreat ecosystem, that is anyone that is wanting to do retreats. You're an association, so you're not an attendee necessarily. You
Right.
could be an attendee that wants to be a retreat leader and come join us.
Right.
So your retreat leaders, your venues, your service providers, which could be, speakers, coaches, people that do sound healing, chefs, like that whole system of people, software providers.
For networking, it
I
sounds
mean,
like a great
attorney,
networking tool.
financial planners. I mean, a retreat, anything can be done on a retreat. Think of a
Yeah,
business and you could do a retreat around it.
right.
So, like, when I say the ecosystem, I literally mean anybody that wants anything to do with retreats should be part of this. And the essential membership, that was another thing for me. Remember, it's about the heart, it's about the people.
Yeah.
It's $111 for the whole year.
111. There's your 11s.
Course.
Yeah,
And so it's affordable for anyone to be
yeah.
part of at that level. And we'll have tiers that we'll bring out later, but there'll be some founding memberships. We're only going to have 100 of those. And those are actually really affordable as well. But I feel like it's going to just fill so many holes as we move. along.
That's incredible. Well, you definitely, share it with people like me so I can share it with my followers and listeners and people I know that, of course, are going to want to. I know some people that are putting retreats together right now that this would be great for them because it'll be a great platform, a landing page almost, right?
Yeah, well, if they can just hang tight, obviously we can't do everything at once.
No,
I want to, but I'm building it different than I've built any other company I've had. But yeah, they if they're a retreat leader, it's great to just get in there. If they're a business in the retreat industry, I would definitely suggest to get a founding membership because they're going to sit on the website there forever. Like there's only
right,
100.
right, right.
So, like, that's a really good place for venues and service providers, people that are doing business with retreat people. I think they're gonna go really fast. They're gonna go probably faster than I think. And I'm okay with that, but I don't I wanna make them affordable. I want people to just really come in and lock arms and grow this thing, and if there's 2
Mhm.
to 3 million retreat leaders in the world, I mean, let's get a percentage of them in there. That's a lot. That's a lot of
Yeah,
work.
there is. There is. I wanna I'm gonna shift gears again. There's the word. Did you mention that you are a hypnotherapist now?
Yeah, I got certified 10 years ago.
Okay, because I did not know that. I didn't have that in my notes.
Yeah, I don't really advertise it. Few months ago, I kind of felt a little called to work with people on their near death experiences. And I haven't put it out there too much, but those are the ones that I think I would love because I just know how powerful they are. And I think, I would hate for someone to relive like a hellish experience because there's those too. But all the ones I've heard that are the hellish, it seems like in the end, they come around to the right side. It's
Mhm.
like they're almost mirroring something that they needed to learn and that's what they're seeing is the evil, and then they get to the good. It just I don't know, those are the stories I've kind of heard, so I guess I would even do one on one of those, but yeah, I definitely like working with the light.
For sure. For people that are listening that might, they've gone through their own stuff, but they wanna turn it into, like you said, it's all about our purpose now and our calling, however you
Yeah.
wanna define it. Like, what advice would you give to those people? Because it sounds like when you were telling me about your book, like, you're like, I was, like, reading it for the first time." Like, that was not an accident.
No, it was wild. I mean, many of those
So
chapters, when I would look at the edits, I was just like
yeah. So what would you say to somebody that's like trying to find their purpose and try to turn their experiences into something that,
yeah.
they might not have anywhere to start?
Okay, so I'm in my 50s and I never felt like I had a purpose till I almost died. And so I
Yeah.
definitely tell people you don't have to almost die to truly live and figure out your purpose. That
Yep.
was my experience, right? I had to have extreme. God had to put me in a coma so I'd sit still and listen because I'm not.
I'm the same way. It's got to be extreme with me with everything. I'm the same.
But a lot of people, you know what? I think, okay, so this has come to me a lot lately, and I'm going to just repeat it here too. Like, I think of it this way. If there's, let's use a mom, because women seem to have a lot more of these kinds of challenges, feeling like they're not enough. I mean, men get it too, but women a lot. Was I enough? Am I enough? Am I doing enough? Am I leaving a legacy? Do I have a purpose? What is my purpose? Those are so many questions I believe I had them that a lot of people have. Well, think about it. Okay, mine is a world changer, I will say. I got gifted a legacy piece that I really feel like is big. But guess what? What if you are a stay-at-home mom and you're thinking, I have nothing, I have no purpose, but maybe your child in your home is the next president of the United States, and
Hmm.
it's your job to be there, to raise them how they need with standards and morals and ethics, and that's your job. How big of a legacy is it now? Like, I'm just thinking some people think so small
Right.
and they're insignificant, but what if that was the case? So think of it on just a different way, like, people's purpose do not have you can change one person, and that's your calling. One
Right.
and it
Right.
might be you that you're changing, right?
Yeah.
What if it's you? What if the life you saved
Hmm.
because you figured something out, So I think we beat ourselves up and we think, "Oh, it's gotta be so hard and it's gotta be so much bigger than what we wanna believe it's bigger." And maybe it's not. Maybe it's so simple and that's okay. And then you have to know that's okay and just know it. I
That's
think I think people know everybody has intuition. Everybody.
Yes. I was just gonna say that I think people just need to listen to that more, and you're talking about moms, like, so busy. Moms are so busy, they're trying to be a woman and a partner and a parent and a whatever, sister, brother, you
And
know,
sometimes the breadwinner because they're single, so they're
the
mom and the dad and the breadwinner, and there's a lot of hats being worn.
they're probably don't have time to even get in touch with their intuition,
I do, yeah.
But when you shift it like that, like you've got this little person, maybe that's your purpose is to help them figure out what their purpose is
Yeah,
even. Maybe it's not the next president. Maybe they're not going to cure cancer, but maybe it's just so they find you help guide them to find their purpose, maybe.
yeah. And what if they are someone who ends up being, let's just say they end up being this great therapist that save hundreds of lives from other people committing suicide?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Like,
Yes.
it's a ripple effect that we just don't realize. You think it's insignificant when it's not. There's more to it, and I think if people will just give themselves credit a little bit more, realizing that. I mean, I had so many people tell me, "I can help you figure out your purpose." Oh, yeah, spent tens and thousands of coaches, and
Yeah.
they can help you. Yeah, they can guide you, but really, you have to figure out what that's like for you, and don't listen to everybody else. Turn off the noise.
Yeah.
Listen to
Turn
yourself.
off the noise. Perfect, Holly. This is so awesome. Thank you for sharing your very personal experience with us because I'm fascinated by it myself. So I know a lot of people are going to. So thank you so much. You're a trauma rock star girlfriend, and welcome to the fam.
Love it.
And thank you again. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
If any of this resonated with you, please share with anybody that this story might, interest or it might spark them to talk about their experiences or just share for hope. This is like a story of hope. So please like, subscribe, share. We want to hear your comments. We want to know what you want to hear, what you liked, what you didn't like. And remember, you are a trauma rock star. The content on this podcast revolves around personal life experiences and is meant to serve as a learning tool. I am not a certified therapist or medical expert. This podcast doesn't offer medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're curious about your mental or physical well being, feel free to reach out to a licensed healthcare professional for assistance.